Greetings and salutations, and my name is Skipper the 14th, and welcome back to another episode of the Test of Time Metaseries. In the last episode, we finished our game of Civilization 3 as Rome. After doing a bit of conquering of our neighbors as Rome does, we went on to win a diplomatic victory. And in this episode, we will be starting our game of Civilization 4 as Rome. Now, before I get right into it, I am going to have to make a decision, because in this game, Rome has two leaders. That's right, instead of just being led by Julius Caesar, I believe, in Civilization 3, we now have our choice between Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. Augustus being Julius's adopted son, for those of you who are not very well familiar with Roman history. So, what is the difference? Well, these two leaders have different traits. That's also correct. Civilization 4, in Civilization 4, traits are not tied to the civilizations themselves, they are instead tied to the leader. So, who we choose to play as will affect how the game will go. For this game, I'm going to stick with Julius Caesar because I like his traits more. I will explain why when we get into the game itself. I'll also explain all of Rome's kit, as it's called, all of the things they have that make them different from other civilizations once we get into the game. But first, I will share a little bit about the settings I use while playing. I typically play on fractal maps. Civilization 4 has a much broader selection of map types than Civilization 3 did. Civilization 3 just has Pangaea, continents, and archipelago, whereas you could see there are a couple dozen here in Civilization 4. I might make a separate video going over all of these, but the important ones to note for this game are that we are playing on a standard size map, which is a human player and 6 AIs. I'll be playing on Prince difficulty because it's the nice, even playing field. We're playing on normal speed. We are playing without random events because they're just, not very well implemented. They have a chance to just kind of screw you over out of nowhere or give you an unfair advantage. They're just, they're random events. Everything else we leave on. A lot of players don't like to play with tribal villages on, especially on higher difficulties, because on higher difficulties, usually the AI gets to all of them before you can, and they get all the benefits, and you're left with nothing. But we're playing on Prince, where that's less of a concern, and I like having them on. I like having the little bonuses. I think it makes exploration a little bit more fun and varied. I used to play with Diplomatic Victory turned off because I hate dealing with the Apostolic Palace and the UN. I'll explain that when we get into it later, but the rest of these options I will leave off. Again, there's enough interest, I might make a video explaining what all of these do in detail. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see me do. But without further ado, let us get into the game. Alright, so looking at our start, it's not bad. Looks like we're close to both the tundra and the desert, which is not great. Two food resources are a sheep and a clam, neither of which is also that great. Settle in place, and yeah, that I could be a bit picky when it comes to maps, but I think I am just gonna bear with me a bit. This might take a little bit. Ooh, well, that is good. Alright, I think I'm just gonna stick with this one. Okay. Alright, I finally found a start that looks good enough for my picky self, so I think we will go with this one. We'll found... Oh my god. Oh yeah, that is... Ooh. That's really good. Alright. If I lose this, I have no excuse. Okay, so why is this start so good? Because we have 3 gold resources, and gold is probably one of the best resources to start with in this game. Our research, though, I think I'm going to go with agriculture because we have some farmable tiles. We have a rice here. Rice is improved with farms. Um, also, a lot more tile improvements in this game than there are in Civilization 3. So, technologies we start with, because like in Civilization 3, every civilization has 2 starting technologies. We start with fishing and mining. Mining allows us to build a mine. That's pretty much it. And fishing allows us to work water tiles, so we can assign citizens to gather the yields from coastal tiles. We can create fishing, and we can create fishing boats and build the workboat. The workboat is a new unit to the series. In Civilization 3, you could not improve coastal tiles at all. The only way to increase their yields was through certain buildings. But in Civilization 4 and 5, you can build workboats that will build fishing boats on certain resources, clams, crab, and fish, whaling boats on whales, and offshore platforms much later in the game on oil. So yeah, those are what we start with. Some of the first technologies you want to go for in Civilization 4 are bronze working is something you want to get to as soon as possible because it will allow you to chop down forests, which is a vital, which is a vital thing to your, process to your early industry because chopping woods will grant you a nice chunk of hammers in your cities. Unlike in Civilization 3, the amount of production you get off of chopping down woods actually increases over the course of the game. I think it only increases like once or twice, but it still does increase, and it can be used to increase the production of wonders. So like there's, so you can, what am I saying? You can chop down forests to produce things faster. End of discussion. You can also It also reveals copper, which is a vital strategic resource early on. Allows you to build a lot of very important, powerful early military units, good for keeping yourself safe or for antagonizing your neighbors. It also unlocks the slavery civic. Unsavory as it is, this is actually very good early on because it allows you to sacrifice population in your cities to instantly fill up the production on something. We'll get to how exactly that works a little later. But going back to what I was saying about the technologies you want to start researching, the things you want to focus on first are what will improve the food resources around your capital. So as you can see, we have the resources we have around our city, as indicated by these little bubbles, are rice, cow, and gold. Now, obviously, gold is not a food resource, it is gold. So our 2 food resources are rice and cow. So we want to get a technology that will give us at least one of them. And that is the one I've chosen is agriculture because we can't, in order to improve the cow, we would need animal husbandry, and we cannot research animal husbandry without either researching agriculture or hunting first. We might as well start with agriculture because that will allow us to build farms. And rice is improved with farms. As you can see, it says research agriculture down there in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. We can also farm, at the beginning of the game, you can also farm any tile next to fresh water, so next to a river or a lake. And farms obviously increase the food yield of the tile by 1. If built on a wheat tile, it actually increases it by 2. Wheat or corn will increase, building a farm on wheat or corn will increase the food yield of the tile by 2, and the wheat and the corn improve the tile by itself by 1. But farm on rice only gives 1 for whatever reason. Anyway, you want to first hook up your food resources. Then you want to get to bronze working as soon as you can to try to find copper to chop down woods and such. Then you will want to go for pottery, which will allow you to build granaries, which are very important buildings. Just like in Civilization 3, once your city grows, if it has a granary in it, 50% of the food you need towards the next citizen will automatically be given to you. So, like, once you fill up the food meter and then you grow the next pop, instead of the food meter completely emptying, it will only half empty. So you basically grow twice as fast. Um, you also get +1 health from corn, rice, and wheat that are hooked up in your territory. Um, Health is something that really only exists in this game. Um, it's it's a sort of metric of your city's kind of like happiness that if it gets too low, will limit how quickly your cities can grow. Pottery will also unlock cottages, which are a very important tile improvement. Commerces in cottages, excuse me, increase the commerce of a tile by 1. Now, commerce, much like in Civilization 3, is very important because having more commerce gives you more science. It also gives you more culture and espionage points later on, but really what it gives you is science and money. And having more science allows you to research technologies faster, and researching technologies faster will allow you to uh, basically gets you everything. Everything in this game is tied to your science. So the more science you have, the better. Um, and an added bonus of the cottages, increasing the commerce of a tile by 1 doesn't sound like that much, but um, cottages in this game grow. What that means is that when you have a citizen working this tile, and as long as they work that tile for 10 turns in a row on standard speed, this will be slower or faster depending on the game speed you picked at the beginning, will grow into a hamlet. A hamlet gives 2 commerce. So if you have a citizen working on a cottage, a tile that has a cottage for 10 turns in a row, that cottage will turn into a hamlet, and that hamlet provides 2 commerce. Then if that citizen works that tile for 20 more turns, it becomes a village, which gives 3 commerce. Then 40 turns after that, it becomes a town, which gives 4 commerce and some other bonuses depending on the civics you pick. So you want to get these early on because you want them to grow. Once they grow, they will give you a lot of commerce, and the more commerce you have, like I said, the faster you research things, and the faster you research things, the better. So we want to start. First off, we want to start with agriculture because we want to farm and hook up our rice. And we are just going to explore. Also, usually the first thing you want to build in your first city is a worker so you can start improving your tiles. Unlike in Civilization 3, you do not start with a settler and a worker, you start with a settler and either a warrior or a scout. Um, which one you start with depends on whether or not you have hunting as one of your starting techs. If you start with hunting, you get a scout. If you don't, you get a warrior. If you don't start with hunting, you get a warrior. You want to build a worker because you want to start improving the tiles around your city as quickly as you can. There are some exceptions. Usually, if there aren't any tiles in your city that you have the technology to improve, you don't want to start building a worker until you have the technology for them to actually do something. Um, but since that's not going to be a problem here because we have mining, which can improve these 3, and then we are researching agriculture, which will improve these 3. And even though we don't have agriculture yet, we will have it before this worker is done building. So yeah, we are just going to explore around us. And while you're exploring, you kind of want to do like a little circle around your starting area. You want to see what's close to you and where you want to start settling your next cities before you go finding where all your neighbors are.
Pray that your summers be wet and your winters
All
clear.
right. Now that we have agriculture and we can farm our uh, rice and any other tiles we might need to, I'm going to start working on bronze working. And after bronze working, I think I will go animal husbandry so we can improve this cow and then into pottery and such. Oh, looks like we've found a neighbor. Judging by that color, looks like India. As we'll find out later on. Yeah, as you can see, there are wild animals wandering around at the beginning of the game. These are barbarians. These are you don't see a lot of them in Civilization uh, 3 typically, unless you. Well, I mean, if you have the setting on for them to appear, you'll actually see them. But the shtick behind barbarians is that they will spawn in parts of the map where like these like slightly darker parts of the map where like no one is currently looking. Like they'll spawn in the shadows, so to speak. Uh, and they are hostile to everyone. They will attack your units. They'll attack your cities. Animal units won't enter your territory, but later on, when you get actual human barbarians, they will enter your cities and they'll pillage your tiles and attack your cities and stuff like that. So you want to, yep, that is indeed India. And it is Gandhi. Gandhi is a bad neighbor to have because he is the least aggressive leader in the game. So if we start next to him, then we're basically, that's one neighbor we don't have to worry about trying to start stuff with us. So just exploring. And like in Civilization 3, when you move a unit onto a tile that has a tribal hut on it, you will get some kind of random benefit out of it. Now that we've built our worker, we are going to start on another warrior, both to keep exploring and also to defend our city because right now there's no one in it. So while you're exploring, you especially have a scout. You want to keep your unit in rough terrain because if they get jumped by barbarian units, then they'll have a defensive bonus.
In his death, all things appear
They'll
fair.
be stronger. So now that um, so we'll start on animal husbandry. Um, just trying to decide what I want to do next with this worker. Farm there. I think it's a farm there. I guess we might as well start building mines on the gold. So we're not going to switch into slavery yet. Explain that in a second. Actually, I'm going to take a quick break. I will be right back. And I am back. So, since we unlocked bronze working, we unlocked the slavery civic. Now, what are civics? If you remember from Civilization 3, there were governments you could choose that, based on which one you had, determined certain things about your civilization, like your unit support, things like that. In Civilization 4, instead of one and done individual governments, you have civics. These kind of represent like individual aspects of your your civilization, and there are 5 categories: government, legal, labor, economy, and religion. Um, each one of these gives you different bonuses towards certain things. Um, each one is unlocked with a certain technology, and every AI leader has a preferred civic. That is, as soon as they unlock it, they will switch into it, and they will like you more if you are also in that civic. You'll get a relationship bonus towards them, and they will often pester you to switch to that if you're not in it. So, the slavery civic, as I mentioned earlier, allows you to sacrifice population to finish production. So what that means is, if we go to our city, this little button here, yeah, you can. It's grayed out because we're not currently in slavery. Also, we only have one population. So what this does is you can reduce the population of your city by a certain number, and based on how many citizens you lost, you gain a certain amount of hammers towards whatever you're building. I think it's 30 hammers per citizen, and you need to have enough population in your city to like be able to afford um the the difference. Like you need to have enough to be able to finish what you're building before it lets you whip, as we used to say, like you whip out something. Um, anyway, it's very good early on for building things quickly, because like with that you can just instantly finish something as soon as your city is big enough, and it's part of why you want to improve all your food resources early, so you have enough food to grow your city, so that like when you sacrifice two population to build something instantly, you can get those two population back more quickly. Um, there are other civics that we will talk about when we unlock them, but that is one of the first you want to get because that will greatly improve the productivity of your empire and allow you to expand a lot faster. But we will not switch into it yet because unless your leader has the spiritual trait, you'll go into a certain amount of turns of anarchy when you switch civics. Much like in Civilization 3, excuse me, you when you went into anarchy while switching governments, um, when you switch civics in Civilization 3 or switch religions, another mechanic we will get to in a little bit, your civilization undergoes anarchy unless you are spiritual, in which case we experience no anarchy whatsoever. Um, Anarchy basically freezes your entire civilization in place. You get no yields out of your cities. Your cities stop growing. They stop building. They stop collecting commerce. You stop researching. Like everything stops. Your units can still move and act, but your cities freeze up basically for the duration of the anarchy. So you want to basically time it so that like that happens when it's going to be the least impactful. Generally speaking, you want to switch into the slavery civic after you have finished building your second settler, technically, and it is on the move to where it is going to settle a city. Um, but it's going to losing along. So I touched on this earlier, but I never fully explained it. The reason gold is such a good resource to start next to is because it provides a lot of commerce. Now, I made a big deal about the cottages and how you want to start getting those early because the earlier you get them, the more the longer you'll be working on them and the more commerce you'll get out of them. When you build a mine on a gold resource, you could see a little pop up in the corner there. You get 6 commerce just for building a mine on this gold tile, and it already has 2 commerce on it. You can see 2 little coins on it. One of it is for having gold on it, and the other is for it being next to a river. So that's more commerce you can get out of a riverside town. Basically, that's like the biggest single source of commerce is a gold mine on a river. Um, but gold mines typically don't have any food on them. So if you want to get the commerce on that tile, you need to have a lot of food basically to make up for the amount of food you're not getting from that tile. Uh, Same rule as in, same principle behind the, mine green, irrigate brown rule in Position 3. You want to have enough food your cities to actually be able to like grow and still work the tiles. I'm going to turn the resource bubbles off for a little bit because they're in the way of the city uh, manor. As you can see, this tile now has 8 commerce on it, so we are going to be getting a lot of science from this early on. I'm going to move there in preparation for chopping out a settler. Alright, now that we have built a warrior and have some small protection in Rome, and Rome has grown at least once, it's actually grown twice, we're going to start on a settler. And while Rome is building this, you can see the settler is going to take 11 turns to build if we do nothing, and that is with our leader's trait of imperialistic. Now, I glossed over the traits, by which I mean I didn't explain them at all. There are how many traits? There are 11 traits in this game. There were 8, I believe, in Civilization 3. There is aggressive, which is militarily focused. It gives a free combat 1 promotion to all melee class or gunpowder class units. Um, we'll explain what that means later on. Promotions is are a new system in Civilization 4. Also go into that a little later once we start getting into war and stuff. But this is a war focused trait. Also allows you to build barracks and dry docks faster, both of which will give certain units free experience. Um, Charismatic gives you +1 happiness in every city, and +1 happiness from monument buildings and from broadcast tower buildings, and also decreases the amount of experience units need to promote. Creative gives +2 culture in every city and doubles production of libraries, theaters, and coliseums. Expansive gives +2 health in every city, makes workers build faster, and doubles the production speed of granaries and harbors. Financial, the best trait in the game, gives +1 extra commerce on every tile that already has 2 on it. Um, this is just broken. This is just too strong. Imperialistic, which is what both of Rome's leaders have, gives 100% Great General Emergence. I'll explain Great Generals when we get into war, and 50% faster production of settlers. So, I did that. Dang it. Muscle memory's screwing with me. We go into uh, our city screen here. You can see we're getting +50% production for settler by imperialistic leader. So we're getting 50% extra production in the city while we're building a settler because we're imperialistic. Other thing is when you are building a settler, I think this also applies to workers, any surplus food you have in your city is turned into hammers, because when you build a worker or a settler, instead of losing population in the city like you would in Civilization 3, your city just pauses its growth. So it stops growing, and then once it's finished building the unit, it will start growing again. So if you're imperialistic, your settlers build a little bit faster. You get 50% extra hammers towards building them. You also earn great generals faster, and our leader that we chose is I picked Julius Caesar because I like his other trait. Every leader has 2 traits. His other trait of organize a little bit better. You get 50% reduced civic upkeep and faster productions of lighthouses, factories, and courthouses. We might not get to factories in this game, at least based on my plan. But the 50% civic upkeep is very nice because you can see down here, upkeep is 0 gold per turn. Now, we're not accruing any cost for our civics because we have all the default civics, and these, I believe, don't cost anything. We also don't have any cities outside of our capital. Once you settle other cities, those cities start taking maintenance just by themselves. And they will also increase the amount you pay on your civics. So, civics a certain amount of upkeep you have to pay, and organized reduces that, so you basically pay less for having a big empire while you're organized. The other Roman leader is Augustus Caesar. His trait is industrious. There's +50% production towards wonders and double production speeds of forges. Um, that's better on lower difficulties than higher difficulties because it's easier to get wonders excuse me, on lower difficulties because the AI is less competitive for them. Um, so I'm going with organized playthrough. So what I meant to do with this guy was chop the forest. So as you can see, we're gonna get 20 extra hammers um, once this worker finishes building, chopping this forest. In 3 turns, we will get an extra 20 hammers. The settler costs 100 hammers, so basically get, and we're putting 9 production per turn towards it. So basically get like 2 turns shaved off the total time to build this. There. Um,
Blessed shall be the
Animal
fruit of thy
husbandry, and
cattle,
we have
the increase
horses.
of thy kind,
Very
and the
nice.
flocks of thy
So
sheep.
the other thing animal husbandry does is that it reveals horses on the map. Um, that we have both of our food resource techs researched, we are just going to go straight to pottery and then to writing. Um, we need the wheel, which we need for pottery. I discussed why you want pottery earlier, but the wheel itself is also very good because it allows you to build roads. Um, much like in Civilization 3, roads will connect your cities to each other, and they will also connect resources to your cities. Unlike in Civilization 3, roads do not increase the commerce of the tile they're on, so you don't need to spam them on every single tile, unless somehow every single tile has a resource on it. And just want to go to writing, because writing will unlock libraries. Library is a very good building early on because it will give you 25% extra science in your cities. It's very much like libraries in Civilization 3, same premise. Uh, they give you more science. I don't think they give you any science like by themselves, but it will increase the amount of science your city already makes, and that is very important early on. We want to get that as soon as possible. And we got horses, which is very nice. Very helpful for our plan. As for what I plan to do with this game, I think you can probably guess based on what we did last game. But my plan is to use our, mass a large army of our unique unit, the Praetorian, as it's called in this game, and roll over a bunch of our neighbors and just, do Rome things and kill everybody. Start improving this cow. But before we do that, we would need to, here's iron working, but what is our unique unit as Rome? You may be wondering. Well, it is the Praetorian. The same sort of concept as basically the Legion, but they just gave it a different name in this game, for whatever reason. Like you can see, it's clearly like a legionary. But it's a similar premise to similar idea to Legion in basically all of the games. It's a swordsman, but it's stronger. The great or not so great, depending on how you look at it, thing about the Legion or the Praetorian in this game, that it is stupid strong. So the swordsman is a base combat strength of 6, excuse me, not 60. I don't think anything in this game is a base combat strength of 60. Praetorian has a combat strength of 8. That is a 33% increase in total combat effectiveness. To give you perspective on how big of a leap that is, the next the unit that this upgrades into, this is meant to be like the classical era city taker infantry unit, and it upgrades into the maceman, which is like the medieval city taker unit. This guy has the same strength as the Praetorian. Yeah, this guy is a medieval strength unit in the classical era. Like, when these guys are out on the field, they are almost unstoppable. Like, if you're on the same level of technological growth as your neighbors, these guys are crazy strong. Even if you're behind, these guys just melt cities. They're like Jedi. They just, even if there's walls, they just no opposition. These guys are crazy strong. They do not need to be 8 strength. They would be fine enough with 7. Even with 7 strength, they'd be really good. But now they have 8, so they're absolutely busted. The other unique thing Rome has is a unique building. Every civilization in Civilization 4 has a unique unit and a unique building, unlike in Civilization 3, where it's just a unique unit. And Rome's unique building is the Forum. It is pretty mediocre. It replaces the market, which is not something you're necessarily going to be building everywhere. You're probably only going to be building it in your capital, and then maybe later on in the game when your cities start getting unhappy, But the bonus that the forum gives over the regular market is a 25% increase to the birth rate of great people. That sounds good, but plus 25% is not a lot in this game. Um, Basically, what this does is that, like, for every 4 great people points per turn your city earns, um, this will give you 1 extra. Keep in mind, like any single source of great person points in this game is only going to be like 1 or 2 points. So you're going to need 4 points in order to get any extra. So, like uh, like 1 extra point, per 4 you already have is not going to get you like that many more great people. Like if you build this in every single city in your empire, you're going to get like maybe 1 extra great person throughout the course of the game. Like maybe you're not this just is not like impactful enough of a bonus really to like be worth. So it's pretty mediocre compared to the sword, you know the Jedi Knight, here. So hopefully we will have some iron nearby that we can use to build them, and if not, then we have other options. But yeah, the plan is to go the militaristic
Put
route
your shoulder to the
as
wheel.
before. Gonna keep exploring. All right, now we have finished our settler, and I was too busy explaining things to you to decide where I want to actually send this guy. Rule of thumb, you want to settle your cities near where there is food, like I said, so you can grow them fast and whip things out with the slavery civic and all that. I am going to mark down a few spots that I would like to settle on. Settle one here would be good. Uh, also be good. Would Here's a little far. Here as well. Really nothing like here. It's really like nothing worth settling there. So, what do I think? I think for now that will be good. So I think first place I will send settler is up here, so we can get that copper. That copper is an important strategic resource. It will allow us to build. Well, won't allow us to build the Praetorium, but it'll allow us to build a couple good early game military units. Battery. I guess we improve the horses. Um, so now that our settler has been finished and is on the way to the next city spot, now is when we want to switch to slavery because it's like when it'll be the least intrusive, basically. Uh, Settle the city there, even though there is. Oh, that would have been. This would have been much better spot for the city. Well, that's what you get for not exploring very well. Yeah, that's just sad. Well, um, we're here. So now that we have our next city, first thing you want to build in this city, usually you want some kind of building that will give you culture, like a monument or a library, but we haven't unlocked either of those yet, and we also don't have pottery to build granaries yet, so you just want a warrior to protect it. And don't worry, this bear isn't going to do anything, he's just going to sit here, because animal units don't attack your cities, they just attack your units, and they also don't enter your borders unless you like settle a city on top of them. So this guy's just gonna sit here for all time and do nothing. Um, so once you've settled your first city, you want to build a worker in your capital because if you build a worker in this city, it's just gonna like slow down the growth of this city. Like the city's not like this city's like gonna be stuck here doing nothing for 9 turns, right? You want this city to be doing something while it's waiting, and your capital will have like a few good tiles it can use to speed up the production of the worker. Anyway, it'll probably have a few extra population you can use to whip it out if need be. Um, so yeah, uh, he just left. I think um, animal units are programmed to like leave your borders if they end up in them somehow. Um, so as you can see, uh, our our warrior unit just defeated that lion unit that was sitting there. We didn't. I have the battle animations turned off because they're like really long-winded. Um, but you heard like the little triumphant horn noise, and our guys are now glowing blue. That means they have earned enough experience through winning battles to earn a promotion. Now, unlike in Civilization 3, when where like your unit had a chance to promote when it just like a random chance to promote to the next level of veterancy when it won a battle. In this game, you earn experience from every battle you win, and once you earn a certain amount of experience, you gain a promotion. Now, these promotions are little modifiers you can attach to your units to make them stronger at whatever role you want them to have. Now, the three we can choose from off the bat are Combat 1, which increases just a flat 10% strength increase. Woodsman, which gives us 20% defense in forest and jungles, and City Raider, which gives us 20% city attack. And what that means is that it cancels out 20% of the like defense strength of the unit in a city. It's not like this unit gets 20% stronger when it's attacking a city. It's this unit cancels out 20% of like the defense bonus of this unit is attacking. So I think I'm just gonna go with combat because that's like a general purpose. Uh, um, all right.
Hath not the potter power over the clay to make one vessel unto honor and another
With
unto
that
dishonor?
said, I think I'm gonna call this episode here. It doesn't seem like we've done a lot, but I've been doing a lot of explaining. We settled our first two cities in Rome and in Antium. We have just finished researching pottery to start building cottages, and explored a bit around us and met our first neighbor. So, we call the episode here. In the next episode, we are going to continue expanding, developing, and possibly planning our next moves against our unfortunate neighbors. As always, leave a like and subscribe. Both of those really help the channel out. They let the YouTube algorithm know that you enjoy my content and you think other people should see it. That helps the channel grow. Uh, and as always, be good, stay safe, and I will see you all next time.